nieces and nephews, as long as you have children that you care about, then you are a parent, and these lessons are for you. So I will dive straight into my session, right? So at the end of this class, what are you going to learn from me? You're going to understand exactly what digital parenting is all about. Some people have heard about it, some people haven't, but they're not quite clear what it is. You're going to understand in real terms what the challenges of parenting in this age is. You're also going to get the skills you need to teach your children in this era. You're going to learn some of the mistakes that parents make, and then you're going to equip yourself to raise your children. Sorry, please give me a minute. Apologies, I'm nursing a flu, so my voice goes off a bit. So these are the things we're going to learn today. Now, first of all, we know that in this era, the role of parenting has significantly evolved. It's not like before where the community was actively raising the children with you. It's not like before where you say, do this, and the children will just go and do it. Now, as a parent, you need to be aware of the technology of the times, because your children are going to use and engage with this technology. So for you to guide them, you even need to know what it's about. You need to know about the changing social dynamics. What do I mean? Before, when your child says, oh, my friend, this is my friend, you expect someone to physically walk into your house. You expect them to physically go to their friend's house. But now, they have friends that even they have never seen. They have friends all over the world from different cultures, different backgrounds. And as parents, we need to be open-minded and know how to guide our children to make the right kind of friends and to explain to them how to evolve from making friends physically to making friends online and to eventually interacting with the digital world. Now, because the world is moving at such a fast pace, we also have to deal with mental health issues as adults and especially as children. These children are tolerating pressures and stresses that even we adults cannot imagine. And I'll talk about that as we go further. And so we have to be very sensitive to their mental health. We need to be aware of the shift in parenting philosophies. In my time, it wasn't like this. Well, the world in which you were raised no longer exists. Let me repeat myself. The world in which you were raised no longer exists. And so as parents, you need to embrace the current world and what works in this current world. Yes, there are some things that will work in any generation, but the way and manner you implement them, you deliver them, will always be in transition and in accordance with the times. I always ask this question: do you want to be right, or do you want to get the person to listen to you? If you want your child to listen to you, then you need to speak in the language, in the tone, in the philosophy that the child can understand. And most importantly, as parents, we need to be aware of safety and security. These are the core roles parents have in today's world. So it's no longer just feed them, send them to school, clothe them, and when they become adults, they will walk out. It doesn't work that way anymore. Family is important in social transformation. We've known this. We're the bedrock of society. Therefore, as parents, you must prepare your children for not just the physical world, which we are all aware of, but now you must also prepare them for the digital world. And that is part of what digital parenting addresses. Now, we've talked about what we need to do as parents. Well, there are some things that we face as parents. that make it a bit difficult for us to do what we want to do. First one is that we are still learning how to manage our digital life. We're still even trying to understand the digital life. And now we need to also help our children. Think about it for a second. We're all used to the physical world. We all know what our parents did. We all know how the rules of the physical world. So we simply follow that template. But the digital world is just evolving. I say that the Gen X's, which is mostly us, right? Those born from 1970s to about 1980, 81, right? Are the digital pioneers. We are the ones who saw digital world start. We are not the natives, but we saw it start. And now we are raising children who were born into the digital world. For you to understand the context, look at it this way. Let's use the Nigerian context. Imagine that you were born before independence, and now you are raising children who were born after independence. Before independence, you were used to seeing all the white people, they had a way of doing things, the national anthem was different. Now your children are born after independence. They don't know what they're talking about. Yes, they will still see white people, but they're used to seeing their black leaders. So the context is different. And so you who were born before independence have to learn how to raise children who were born after independence because they don't have the same context that you have. And that is what one of the biggest challenges of digital parenting is. The context your children have of technology is completely different from your context because you lived in a world without technology and you survived. So you cannot understand how another human being cannot survive without technology. But you have to understand, they've never had to. The second thing is that for many parents, they're like, whether it's pride, whether it's fear, whether it's ignorance, there are so many reasons, but many parents do not know how to use these tools and do not want to know. It's one thing not to know how to do something. It's another thing not to even want to know. That their social media, that their computer, beg, you should leave me alone. But my question is, would you send your child, if you are living in Lagos or you're living in Enugu, would you send your child to Sokoto to live as a 13-year-old, as a 12-year-old, as a 10-year-old, without even knowing where Sokoto is, what it's about, what their culture is, so that at least you can give your child some heads up? If you won't do that in physical life, then you shouldn't do it digitally, which is what you do when you hand a device to your child and do not know what that child is doing. Parents become overwhelmed by the learning curves and the decisions to be made. There are so many decisions. When do I give my child a smartphone? Should I give them laptop? Should I allow them be on social media? Which social media should I allow them be? What? You see, it's so many questions, so many questions. And it can be very overwhelming. Parents, if you can relate to the three things I said, please just answer me in the chat box. I want this to be very interactive because I know that I'm going to shift some people's brains today. I'm going to break some tables, but I'm doing it in love. And I want to be sure that we're all absorbing. So if you agree with me that these are the challenges of parenting in a digital age, let me know in the chat box. I won't continue until I see those responses. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And if you feel there are any other challenges, put them in the chat box and we'll talk on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So now we know what role the family plays in society. We know what roles parents play. We know what parenting in the digital age is all about and the challenges. Now, I want us for a minute to know what digital parenting is not. I want us to discuss what digital parenting is not before we talk about what it is. Digital parenting is not, I've blocked their phone. They can't use Instagram. It's not that. That is a part of it. It can even be a consequence, but it is not the entirety of digital parenting. Digital parenting is also not codedly being in your children's apps, having access to their WhatsApp and their TikTok without them knowing. Digital parenting is not saying you are not allowed to use this at this time. You are not allowed to use this way. You are not. That's not it. Again, I'm not saying that these are not parts of digital parenting, but I'm saying these things are not the only things you need to worry about, right? Sorry, before I continue, Chibuike is saying it's really difficult monitoring what they do with their laptops. At times, they switch from doing assignments to playing games until you catch them. Exactly. And I'm going to discuss that. And I'm going to tell you how you go about, getting that done. Digital parenting is not you sit down and tell everybody, in this house, you are not allowed to have phone until you're 17 or 18. If I catch you on the phone, you are finished. You are not allowed to. It's not a one-time discussion. It's not a dictatorship. Digital parenting also does not assume that, they say they are the ones that are the digital natives. They are the ones that Kukuma know. Well, me, I cannot come and kill myself. I did not kill my mother and father, so these ones will not come and kill me. That is also not digital parenting. What then is digital parenting? Digital parenting involves preparing your children to navigate the digital world in a safe and responsible manner. It involves managing screen time. It involves teaching your children how to balance the use of technology. Notice I did not say not to use technology, but balance it. It is also important for them to understand what is the good part of technology and what is not the good part. Omolara says, another challenge is managing attention span. Yes, yes. Now, before we go into how we resolve some of these issues, let me give you guys a reason why you should make the effort. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to play this video. It's about 1 minute long or 90, in fact, a minute. If you can't hear the audio, let me know immediately so that I can adjust. Can you hear the audio, please? No. Okay, great. Just 1 second. My screen sharing post. Okay.
Almost every alcoholic discovered alcohol when they were teenagers. When we're very
Better? Okay, great.
very young, the only approval we need is the approval of our parents. And as we go through adolescence, we make this transition where we now need the approval of our peers. What's happening is because we're allowing unfettered access to these dopamine-producing devices and media, too many kids don't know how to form deep, meaningful relationships. Their words, not mine. They will admit that many of their friendships are superficial. They will admit that their friends, that they don't count on their friends, they don't rely on their friends, they have fun with their friends, but they also know that their friends will cancel on them if something better comes along. Deep, meaningful relationships are not there because they never practice the skill set, and worse, they don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with stress. So when significant stress starts to show up in their lives, they're not turning to a person, they're turning to a device, they're turning to social media, they're turning to these things which offer temporary relief. Alcohol is not bad, too much alcohol is bad. There's nothing wrong with social media and cell phones. It's the imbalance.
Did you hear that? Our children are finding it difficult to cope. Our children know, and you can have this conversation with your children. Our children know that they don't have solid friendships. Our children know that if there are very few of them that have solid friendships, they don't really rely on their friends, which is why when they are stressed, they look for their devices. It is why when there's any free time, they focus on the devices. They can rely on the devices. Do you understand? And so he said something very critical, which is what I'm going to pick up. Social media and cell phones are not bad. It's the imbalance. It's the imbalance. These things are useful, but when you use it in excess, that's when there's a problem. And so we need to intentionally teach our children how to use these tools in a healthy and a wholesome manner, because whether we like it or not, tech is unavoidable in this era. There's a lot of good things that tech will do for you. It will optimize your time. We are using tech to learn this today, gathering people from all over the world, right? So we cannot say tech is bad. It's not all bad. Just like we cannot say a plane is not all bad. A plane gets us from one point to many thousands of miles away. And if you check the accidents, daily accidents from using a plane, it's very scary. But it doesn't stop us from flying on the next flight. Same thing with cars. And so we need to have a balanced view about technology. Teach our children how to use it for what it is and keep themselves safe so that they do not make unnecessary mistakes. Common mistakes about digital parenting. You think you don't need to intentionally prepare your children for the digital world. Not true. The same way you are preparing them for the physical world, the same way you give them values, the same way you send them to school, the same way you tell them this is not acceptable. You need to be polite, you need to be courteous, you need to be that. Is the same thing you need to do for the digital world. Over monitoring them without communication. You are always monitoring, but you are not explaining your whys. The children are just going to see you like a police, not a parent. They're going to see you like a terrorist, not a parent, not a concerned parent. And if you don't explain to them why you're doing what you're doing, there's always going to be a disconnect. Everything can be discussed. Everything. Assuming that you, who are not the digital native, because you have researched, therefore you have complete understanding. Guess what? The mere fact that you grew up without tech and you are introduced to tech as an adult already means that you cannot understand what your child is going through. We counsel a lot of children, and the pressure that they are going through because of tech is crazy. Let me give you a little example. Everyone here has a good grip of their identity. Oh, I'm male, oh, I'm female, oh, I'm whatever. But for our children, if you check most of their social media accounts, they have he, him, she, her. And one would think it's a trend, but it's not just a trend. It's a flag to say this is who I am. Because the minute they don't have that, they open themselves up to all sorts of crazy conversations. Do you know what it is to be a teenager and you have to defend your identity on a daily basis? That's a lot of pressure. So parents, I want us today to get off our high horse and stop assuming that we know everything about what our children are going through. The only way you know everything is if you ask them and genuinely listen. And even if it's not the same context as yours, don't tell them, don't minimize it. Really listen. If a child tells you they're afraid or they feel worried, believe it. Yeah. Sorry. So sorry. Okay, next. Lack of consistent rule. Today you say, don't do this. And they beg. I say, okay. Or child A has these rules. Sorry, 1 second. Apologies, I'm back again. Yeah, so you need to be consistent in your rules. If you say that children are not allowed to do maybe a certain social media until they are 16, then you need to be consistent with that. And if you want to change it, you need to have conversations with your children, right? So that they know why. Explaining your why is constant. You need to be a good role model. You cannot be complaining about your children's screen time and you are a bigger culprit. How many of us, let me ask this question, how many of us monitor our screen time? How many of us can tell us how many hours they spend a day on the average? Can you put that in the chat box? I don't see anything in the chat box. What's going on? I wish 12 hours. Yes. Okay. Don't worry, this is a no judgment zone. I'm not here to talk about whether 10 hours or 20 hours is good or bad. Esosa, 1 hour? Are you serious? So you don't use laptop, you don't watch TV. Are you saying 1 hour for social media? Or are you saying 1 hour for your entire screen time? Don't know how long. We need to be aware. We need to set our phones to at least monitor our phone screen time and then have an idea of how many hours we use. I mean, in the average workplace, most people use laptops. So you're already on the screen. You're watching a movie on TV, your child is watching the movie on their phone. So you need to be very intentional. Whatever it is you're expecting of your child, make sure you're already doing it. Or you are going to do that with the same time as your child. Underestimating safety risks. Please, the digital world is an even more dangerous place than the physical world. So we need to teach our children about privacy, reputation management, and all of that. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I don't know why. We really need to be aware. And we please need to adapt to technology. Technology can be our friend. If you are in denial about it, that's when it will become your enemy, right? Please, if you don't do anything, screen grab this. Key digital skills you must teach your children. Resilience. Why? Because, like I said, the digital environment is a very dangerous place. They will have issues. They need to know how to make decisions and how to manage conflicts. Oh, my voice is not clear. Can anyone else hear me? Please, if my voice is not clear, let me know.
You are loud and clear.
Okay. Sir, please, if my voice is not clear, perhaps you want to log in and log out. The other thing you want to teach your children is balance. They need to see you actually drop your devices and engage in non-digital activities and balance it so that they too can learn. They need to learn empathy. A lot of people are going through a lot of stuff online. And before you type, assume that this person is managing something and just be empathetic. They need to learn security and safety. For every app that they log into, they need to know how to go into their privacy part, their privacy settings, and just turn off everything that they don't need to turn off. And finally, but most importantly, they need to learn reputation management. Because everything online is there forever, they are building their reputation already with every post, with every comment, with every like. And so your children need to know that they are a brand and they need to manage it. So I've told you a lot of things that we need to do, a lot of things we need to avoid. So what's the safe way to go ahead and do this? How do we equip ourselves, our own selves, to raise children in this world? In the digital parenting school, we teach a framework called the ALLA framework. Accept, learn, activate, reinforce. It's the framework for our Mastering Digital Parenting course. It allows you to know all the things you need to be aware of. It's designed to empower you with knowledge, strategies, tools, to effectively guide your children through the digital world. When we say you should accept, we say you need to understand and embrace technology. That means you need to recognize the fact that technology is critical to modern life. It's not going anywhere. And you need to go from just looking for all the dangers and understanding that this is here. And you need to be informed and proactive about it. Then you need to educate yourself and your family about digital safety and etiquette. Learn about it, learn about the interactions, learn about the different platforms and the tools, and understand this, and then educate your children. Just like you give them values, give them digital values. How are you supposed to regulate what you don't know about? Next is actively apply what you've learned. So you've done the research, you are learning, apply it. Don't just leave it as a note. You finished in this class. We are giving some tips. Go and apply it over the salad brick. Practice it, practice it, practice it. Right? And the last one, reinforce. If you don't keep doing it, it won't stick. When you do it, have conversations. After having conversations, check in with your children. Assess your family as a whole. And as long as you keep doing that, it would become part of your family's, your family values and your family system. So in conclusion, there are many challenges, but with intentional efforts and the right strategies, you can guide your children to be responsible digital citizens. But it starts with you continuously educating your own self and staying involved in your children's journey. Don't distance yourself from it. Embrace it as part of your journey. Now, to help you out, I'm dropping this. This is a free book. It's a free ebook that helps you with, how to set healthy screen time boundaries. You might want to just screen grab this. If you go to this link, you will just put your name and your email, and then the ebook will come to your email address. It's free. You can scan the QR code, you can go to the link, but I say before you do any of that, screen grab this so that you have it with you all the time. So, are we good? Can I change? Can I change it now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. And so now we go to the question and answer session.
Thank you
For
very
those who
much.
have questions, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Charles. For those who have questions, put them in the chat box, raise your hands, and I'm here for you.
Right, so we have all the options open to us. Post your questions in the chat box, raise your hand, and we unmute you to ask your questions or your comments or your contributions. Okay, Mike, you have the mic. All right, Mike, you want to unmute and speak before we go to Olaitan?
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to take us through this. It's quite, can you hear me?
Loud and clear,
Yes, we
Mike.
can.
Yeah, it's quite enlightening. In fact, today, it's just the discussion we had with them, with my boys, you know, for the discipline and the use of gadgets and and internet. And it's interesting. There's a lot of gap, you know, and for us parents, I think for me myself, I think I need to learn a lot. Now, we've tried all sorts of things. At some point, we stopped the internet in the house, you know, supplying the house. Okay, bedrooms, 10 o'clock, submit all your able to submit your laptops, you know. But at some point, you see, I told my wife, see, internet has come to stay. It's not going away. In fact, instead, it can get faster and faster. So we only have to learn how to live with it, and all of us, including me and all of the children. So this was where the internet to be there. So, but we need to learn how to use it. Now, one question I have, I also told them that today, you know, when we discussed, internet will not go away. Instead, if anybody wants to have it 24 hours non-stop. So it's learn to how we can use it. Games is not bad, but you need to be clear, you know, what you start from this time, end this time, and then you go. Now, my own question, which I have asked several people, nobody have not been able to give me the answer, you know. I was thinking it should be possible to be able to limit certain sites they can go with the internet subscribed in your house, you know. So with the internet subscribed in my house, you know, I should be able to, but I've asked the internet people, the providers, they tell me, no, it's not possible. Maybe it's in the gadget or something. I've not gotten the concrete answer. So is there a way I should at least, I'll be sure that there are certain sites they don't have access to, okay? Because the dangerous thing is some of these sites pop up on their own, you know. I nearly enter, they keep popping up, they keep showing, you know. I even have it one of my phones, you know, will keep showing all sorts of things that you just wonder, how did you even get here? And you can by mistake press one, really you press one, you enter. Next time, I was telling them the more and more of those will come. So that's one thing I would like, if you can help me with that, so that in my house you can put that. At least that's one step in the battle. We'll still continue the other engagement and discussion. Over. Thank you.
So I'm going to give you some things you can use for parental control and, you know, blocking sites. I will give them to you, but I'll tell you something. Blocking those sites is the same as you saying You want to put a fence around your child every day as they're going to school, as they're going to their friend's house, as they're and I'm not saying you shouldn't. I mean, when they're going out at a certain age, they must go out with certain adults to keep them safe, to monitor them. When they get to another age, someone can drop them, then they will come back and pick them. But while they're outside, they're on their own. Then they get to a certain stage and you're like, why can't you go to this place by yourself? Right? Same thing with tech. Certain ages, yes, I put it there. Google Family Link, Microsoft Family Safety, Apple Screen Time. Those are the free ones. Most of the other ones are paid. If you want to address it from your internet in the house, modem, it's a bit of a technical skill because you need to log into the modem and be deleting or putting the web address. But let me tell you something. For every website you block, there's another one open. So it's not, don't use blocking as a tool for digital parenting. Blocking is maybe when they are young and you just want to limit them. So when my children were very young, primary 3 and under, I would only allow them access to their school website and I think Google or so one or two others, and I blocked every other thing. So the setting was block or allow this, that. And any of these apps can do it. But as they get older, we release it. Why? If you block from laptop, they go to phone. If you block from phone, they go to laptop. You block from laptop and phone in your house, they go to their friends. And you're not just parenting you and your children's physical friends. You're also parenting their online community. All they have to do is rant once. Oh, my parents are so stiff. They block everything. I can't do this. The answers they will get, right? You'll be shocked. So instead, talk to your children. Explain to them why they shouldn't click those links. Explain to them how the digital world is the same as the physical world. Bond with them. You'll find that you get far better results than blocking. I hope this has helped.
Yeah, next question, you may wish to raise your hand, but meanwhile, we have Lointon asking here, whenever a phone, whatever phone or laptops one hands over to the children, I suggest that those apps to prevent visit to bad websites can be installed. Such apps also prevent unnecessary pops-ups and other. Okay, let's see. How can parents follow up on the kinds of friends kept by their children online? Give the okay. Wow, that was straightforward.
So remember what I told you. I'm here to just break some tables and shatter some realities. You cannot, even if you put out the monitoring apps in this world. Let me tell you, there was an incident in one of the schools, and I was called to be part of the investigative team. So I posed as one of the children, and I began to look at all the children's different accounts on different social media. On the average, each child had about 2 or 3 accounts. One had up to 6. In fact, by the time we started calling parents and telling them, please check, your child has this, they said, no, I'm with your phone. They're not using it. I'm like, do they have access to their laptop? Yes, they're doing homework with it. I say, if they have laptop, they have access to social media. What do you mean? One parent said, this child had about 5 or 6 accounts on that app. Say, yes. In fact, last weekend, I beat the child black and blue. We were able to shut down 5 accounts. There's only one that they said it was hacked. So they don't have access to it. Guess what? During the week, that one account that they said was hacked was busy doing some work online during school hours. So you see, you can monitor. You can beat. You can block. It will not stop a child who's bent on doing that from doing that. And I say this because every time you want to take an action about the digital world, ask yourself this question. If this was a physical world problem, what would you do? Can you stop your children from making friends in school? You can't. But you can give your children good values so that they make good quality friends. Can you stop your children from clicking those naughty links? No. But you can raise them with the fear of God so that when they even see something with funny name, they don't even bother. They are not interested. That is the approach. Value-based parenting, both physically and digitally. Blocking, monitoring, beating, fear tactics, those things, they are very limited in their effects, and we see it every day. Children of this era, any form of attention is good attention as far as they're concerned. So please don't burn your energy. Instead, talk to them. Get their buy-in. Let them see.
All right. Francis, 1DK. You're next. Just unmute and speak. Francis, 1DK. Francis? Okay. So while Francis is trying to unmute, let's attend to Ruth.
All right.
Ruth.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good evening.
All right.
Good evening.
Yeah. My question is just a straightforward one. I want to appreciate what you have said this evening, quite germane and relevant in our contemporary times. My question is, I mentor young ones, especially boys, and sometimes girls too. Now, I was having a conversation with somebody, and the boy was like, "Sir, these people, my parents have collected all my gadgets, and I can't even play game. There's this current one that is going on, among boys, roadblocks. Before you do that, you subscribe to it and all that." So he said, "I cannot do anything. Even if they force me to read, I won't do anything." So we're trying to look at how can we help this boy, because he says even if it's 2 hours they give me, let me do this thing, let me play this game, and there's no limit to this, even during exam, out of exam and all that. So how do you advise us to also advise this young child that, see, there should be a mechanism to all this, and to douse this game freak for him, that will make him that he cannot do anything without addressing that that desire. Thank you.
Okay. Do you remember when you were young and they say, "No, you see that tree, don't climb it. You see that, don't do it." What do you gotta do once they say it? That's your mission in life. I must climb that tree. There are some children, the minute you say do not in front of anything, their brain is like, why? I must. Then when every other person is doing it, you now deny them. It's worse. It's called fear of missing out. You see, when you deny children something, and children, they have time, they have energy, and they have community. When they get those three things together to achieve something, trust me, they will. So for me, personally, I would say, if you have a child that is so passionate about that game, give that child that game 1 hour, maybe on weekends. Start there, 1 or 2 hours on weekends. With those apps I wrote there, you can time it. You can go to those apps, Roblox, 2 hours, Saturday, every other day off. You can. That way, in my language, there's something they say, okwalinatia. That means that the test will be reduced. He has access to it, but he knows now that he needs to earn it. You see my house? We have PlayStation in my house. It's there in the parlor. Before, Mondays till midterm, in fact, midterm, from when they start school till midterm, they will submit the controllers. Then midterm, they will play it. Then during holiday, they will get it again. Now, they don't submit it. The controllers are there. The PS is there, but nobody touches that PS5 until it's midterm. In fact, when their midterms don't align, the one that has midterm earlier will come and say, Mommy, you know I'm going to be on midterm, and so person is not yet going to be on midterm. Will I be allowed to play the PlayStation? And I'll say, this is what we're going to do. Because it's not balanced and you don't want to distract them, you can play it from this hour to this hour. Oh, thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Mom. I don't cease. We started by physically submitting it because they were addicted. They really needed it. So every holiday, the Sunday before they resumed, they would bring the controllers to my room. I will hide it. Then once midterm starts, I'll give it back to them. They'll be so happy. Then we continue. But now, I kid you not, if you go to my living room, it's there, plus controller, plus PS, and nobody's touching it. So we need to condition them. We need to train them. And let me tell you something. You're not just training them for when they're in your custody. A child who does not learn how to put down their game to do homework will not learn to put down that game to reach their responsibilities in the office. There are adults now who are addicted. It's because they were not taught how to condition themselves, how to manage their excesses, how to have delayed gratification. Those are the things we need to teach our children. You can't remove. The minute I tell parents, let me explain something to you. All these things you are removing, you are blocking, the minute your child goes into university or they turn 18, whichever one comes first, the game is no longer in your court. You're no longer in control. You are no longer in control. Any control they are making you think you have is out of respect. If that child wants that thing badly enough, they will get it. So you have between when they are born till when they leave your house for university, even if they are going to university as day students, it's still the same. Or till when they are 18, depending on which comes first, to raise that child, to give them digital citizenship values, to test your values and ensure that that child is able to be online safely. So what are you doing today to ensure that?
Okay.
Next question, please.
Yes. How do you advise a parent that allows their child almost 24 hours on weekends and about 16 hours daily on weekdays, exclusive of school time, of course? The parents do this to prevent the child from disturbing. So they give the child cartoons all day long.
That's a delicate one. If you're not close family friends, or you're not close relations, or people that they respect, pray for them. Because you don't want to cause fights, right? But on a more serious note, perhaps you want to explain to them that there are so many studies around screen time addiction, around faulty eyesight. Quite a number of children in this era have autism or spectrum conditions. And I can tell you for a fact, that some of them are triggered by excessive screen time at a young age. I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4. So perhaps these are some of the things you want to tell that parent. But I will tell you something. Take all your judgment and pack it outside before you have that conversation. Sit down, first of all, and start by understanding the challenges that the parents have. Do they have help? Are they always tired? Where do they work? Are they just simply confused? Then offer to help in one way or the other before you begin to tell them about all the dangers of what they are doing. Some parents just don't know that it's dangerous. Some are overwhelmed. So you need to be very mindful how you go about it before you go about it. Next question, please.
just indicate by raising up your hand, then we give you the floor.
Anyone
Yeah.
else?
Anyone else? Because we have just a few minutes to go. Okay, I see somebody raising highly this value-based parenting, and even anchoring it on scripture. Train up the child way to go. When he's old, he will not depart from it.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Oh, Sebastian, of course, we expect one from you.
So Ify, thanks so much. This has been wonderful. It's been awesome. Just
You're very
one, I
welcome,
don't know
sir.
whether to call it a question or a concern. Everything you've said so far, fantastic, very clear. However, on a practical level, could there be a connection between how a parent manages he or her use of, or let us say her screen time? That is the amount of time you keep looking at the phone, touching the phone, not working, but maybe resting, maybe generally spending time, which is
Passive
typically
screen
what you
time.
tell, yes, what you tell children to avoid. Do your work. Don't just keep looking at your screen. Don't just while away time touching the phone. So now the question is there a connection between how a parent leaves that detail and what the children pick up from him or her?
Oh, sure. So if you're somebody who doesn't, if your children have never seen you enjoy life without a screen, so what do I mean? Do you play card games with your children, your spouse? Do you go outside? Do they see you live life and just keep the phone? When they see it, then it's more likely, I didn't say they would definitely, that they will imitate you. When they see you being able to drop your phone, your devices, then it gives you the credibility and the moral rights to talk to them about their own. And make no mistake, no matter how young the children are, they know what moral rights and credibility is all about. They may not be able to express it, but they know it. I have a thing, I say, be present in the present. When I'm with my children, my phone is usually somewhere off. So it's there, it's on, it's mostly on silent, or also face down. Because when I'm with my children, I am with my children. I'll return whatever calls I get within that season then. When we're having our lunch time together, we try to have lunch weekly as much as time will permit. No phones are allowed during the table. During seasons, holiday seasons, we play card games, we play board games, we watch old movies or pictures. Phones are secondary. See, so they see us constantly drop our phones down to live life. And so they know that, oh, mommy's phone is simply a tool for connection. It's not her life. And you see, that statement is dependent on how you, the parents, behave. You can tell your children that, my phone is not my life, but once the thing rings, you just do like this. Hey. You know, there's some people like that. Any notification, they jump. If you are jumping for notification, what do you now want your child to do? Children that are limited with constraint, discipline. That means you're already showing them that this thing is very important. So parents, we really need to model good and healthy and balanced digital lives so that our children can see what that looks like. They can see that you are happy, because you need to show your children that you can be happy without tech, without digital. That digital helps to elevate, not that it is the source of your happiness. There's some parents, if they are not scrolling on Instagram or watching all those memes or those videos, you will never see them laugh. They're always like this. And once they're online, that means you're telling your children that my life, my source of joy is inside this thing. So parents, be mindful, be very, very mindful, please. Even when you're talking to your children and you're holding your phone in your hand, it gives the impression that, please do and go, let me enter this phone. Drop the phone, face them, make eye contact, hug them, touch them, laugh with them. If you cannot do it, then please do not expect your children to be able to do it either. Yeah.
Wow, that's a nice way to really call this program to close. It's quite practical. With the lived experiences of Ify Okafor, it makes it it reinforces the fact that it's doable, it's being done, and you can go ahead and be proficient in this. So once again, I wish to thank you for spending your time and sharing your expertise with us. And then I would like to thank each one here present. Of course, you've been at the right place at the right time and doing the right thing. You want to review some of these learnings, you can always go to our YouTube channel and the recordings will be there. See you same time next month, for yet another exciting topic. Have a great weekend and a long holiday ahead.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
feel free to connect with me on any of all those platforms.
Oh, great.
Again, screen grab it, and then you can go ahead and take your time. It's been my pleasure. And we're offering a course that starts next month. For those who are interested, just head on to Digital Parenting School, and you can see more of the details there.
Sure would.
You're all welcome.
Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you very much.